Hey, what's up YouTube? Interiors here. Hope you're doing well. So today I actually wanted to try something a little bit different and make a video to help out other artists, specifically newer / younger artists that are a little bit earlier on in their career or maybe even getting started completely. I wanted to kind of share some things that I've learned over the years on my own through trial and error working on interiors. Since I started interiors back in 2012, I've always been the only sole member of the project, putting together the plan for each release that's come out, all my albums, all my singles. I've never worked with a record label or a manager or anyone in that sense. When I got started, I had no idea what the hell I was doing. Over the years, I've gradually learned through trial and error, watching YouTube videos the same way you're watching a YouTube video right now, watching what other artists and bands were doing in their releases. After 8 or 9 years of doing this project, I feel that I have a thing or two that I can kind of share. So if your goal is to grow your project by getting your music in front of as many potential listeners as possible, today I'm going to be going over my top 4 tips / best practices for releasing music as an artist. Quick disclaimer, I am obviously not trying to assert that any of the things I am talking about today are 100% rules that must be followed by everyone, and that if you don't do what I'm saying that you're wrong. This is 100% my opinion. This is how I approach releasing music, and I figured at this point I've been doing it for almost a decade and I have some things to share that I've learned over the years. This first point isn't necessarily the first step in the process or anything like that, but it is definitely the most controversial point I'm going to be making in this video, so I decided to... Hello, why are you blurring out? Hello, can you stay focused on me? What the heck, bro? Blah, 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 blah. Jesus, why am my camera tripping today, brah? Alright, anyway, back to the video. Not necessarily the first step in the music dropping process or anything like that, but I think it's probably the most controversial thing I'm going to say in this video, so I decided to get it out of the way early on in case anyone decides they're going to hate me for saying this. We can just get that out of the way. So my first point that I'm going to make today is don't kill your release by leaking your own music ahead of time. Now here's what I mean by this. Listen man, I get it. You're super proud of the new music you recorded and you can't wait to show all your friends and everyone else, but please listen to me. Be patient. Wait for the release. I cannot tell you how many times I've seen people upset on release day or during the first week of their new album's release, saying that it's not getting as much traction as they hoped it would, it's not doing as well as they hoped it would, when 2 or 3 weeks before it dropped, they were sending a Google Drive link of the mixed and mastered entire album to their homies. Dude, I totally get it. Trust me, like I said, you're excited, you want to show everyone, but at the same time, if your goal is to view your band like a business, to grow it as much as possible, and ultimately to have as good of a first release day as possible, you're only shooting yourself in the foot by letting people hear it ahead of time, your friends who are going to be your biggest supporters on release day. Sure, when it comes out, they're still going to listen to it, but you're losing the impact of having everyone hear it for the first time and getting everyone hyped up about it on the day that it drops. That's my best advice first off. Don't kill your own release by leaking your music ahead of time, bro. A quick side note with this point, I'm absolutely not an extremist. I'm not going to sit here and say that you have to keep your music under lock and key, that no one besides you and your producer can hear it before it comes out. Of course, if you have trusted friends, a couple, 2 or 3 people here and there, maybe like-minded musicians, and you want to say, hey, listen to this, let me know what you think, I want to get some input from another musician, from another producer, whoever it may be, it's absolutely very healthy to get input, to get feedback from people who can really give you constructive criticism, things like that. You want to be doing that along the way as you're recording your songs. What I'm more talking about is just being excited for people to hear it and not being able to wait until release day. My second point, get your music out there everywhere and however you can. First off, if you're not putting your music on every single platform possible, you're not fully investing in yourself as an artist. Let's look at it in business terms. If your goal is to garner as large a fan base as possible, you're really just trying to capture as much of the overall market share as possible, the same way any business tries to grow their business. Looking at music from a business perspective, when you really break it down, your music is not only your product, but it's also kind of your marketing. It's what pulls people in as fans when they first hear it and makes them want to stick around to hear future music. But like I said, it is also the product that you're putting out. So that being said, get your marketing in front of as many people as possible. If you have not done this before, it's much easier than it may sound. You just got to find a distribution service, which is essentially the middleman between you, the artist, and all of the music platforms out there, like Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, if anyone uses Tidal. The two most popular distributors these days, I think you would say, are DistroKid and CD Baby. I personally use DistroKid because it works for me. I encourage you to research both, and honestly as many as you want, and figure out which platform sounds like it's going to work best for you. Some of them have different payment structures and tiers and things like that, so really do your research like you would with anything else. Google is your best friend. Find out what's going to work best for you and the release you're planning to put together and ultimately drop. Your distributor will give you a platform to upload your music, your artwork, the track names, etc. Submit it to all of the stores you want, all of them, and choose your release date. Get this step done at least a month ahead of time. I know it might sound like overkill, but yes, I'm saying once your songs are mixed and mastered, once your album artwork is 100% ready to go, once the songs are named, once your track listing is decided, if you're printing physical CDs, once you have your CDs in hand, that is when you want to upload, and it should be at least a month before your release date. Again, I know it might sound like complete overkill, but I am the kind of person, I like to be well prepared for everything. And this comes from experience. You never know what might happen. There are a million different hangups that could potentially come up with a release. They could say there's a problem with your artwork. That's happened to me before, and it actually caused one of my releases to get uploaded to Spotify a couple days late. I'm speaking from experience here when I say it's 100% worth your time to put together a plan, to give yourself enough time before the release date you decide upon to be able to get your stuff uploaded to your distribution service at least a month ahead of time. That way, if any hangups do happen, if anything else goes wrong, you can absolutely catch it and still get your music out on time. Another benefit of getting your music ready to go and uploaded at least a month ahead of time is it gives you time to get as many people as possible to pre-save your new release. Whether it's a single or an album, you're going to get a link called a pre-save link that allows people to pre-save it into whatever music platform they listen to. And what this does is when your music comes out, it will automatically show up on their home screen when they log into, say, Spotify that day. It'll say, hey, X, Y, and Z has a new song out, you should check it out. It's not really going to say those words, but your release will be there in their release radar playlist. A third benefit here is you'll have time to pitch your song for editorial playlisting through the Spotify for Artists app. Spotify's editorial playlists are the official Spotify playlists. They have a million of them, everything from rock and metal to dance music to yacht rock to whatever. For example, my song Recalibrate is on Spotify's Instrumental Madness playlist, and it used to be on Spotify's Got Gent playlist, which was honestly the biggest honor of my entire life to be added to that playlist. Shout out to Spotify. I also recommend releasing your music through Bandcamp. It's completely free to do so. If you're unfamiliar with Bandcamp, it's a platform where you can stream albums and songs and releases from artists, and you can also buy them, sometimes for a set price, or sometimes you can name your price or even give the artist more money than they're asking for. If they're asking for $7 for an album, like I am, you can offer them 10 or 15 or 25 or however many dollars you might want to offer to that artist. And like I said, uploading your release to Bandcamp is 100% free, and you can even set up a merch store through Bandcamp as well, which is where I do my merch store. So quick plug, you should buy some merch from me, even though my pop filter is in the way. But seriously, I love Bandcamp. I'm a huge fan of Bandcamp. Seriously, Bandcamp, call me. A few more things, or mini tips, I guess. Send that PreSave link to as many of your friends as possible. Post about it on your social media. Make memes to promote your album. Oh my goodness, I can't tell you, man. Memes have become like my #1 method of promoting my music, my creative content, everything I do. I just make some memes and it's like people react to that, comment on that more than anything else. It's 2021, baby. Memes resonate with people. You can utilize the share to Instagram story feature that Spotify and Apple Music have built into their platforms and encourage your listeners to do the same, and all of their Instagram followers will see it as well. Those platforms also have a feature like this for Facebook stories. All the social media stuff is probably pretty obvious. Most of you already would be sharing your stuff on social media, so I probably didn't need to say that for like 80% of you, but I figured it was worth mentioning. Beyond that, find relevant subreddits on Reddit that might be good for sharing your music in, whether it be relevant to your genre of music, or for me, I post in a lot of the 7 and 8 string related subreddits whenever I do a playthrough video or even just releasing new music. Obviously, I play, for the most part, 7 and 8 string guitars, so that's relevant to my music. Whatever is going to be relevant to yours, find those on there. If you're not a Reddit user, I highly suggest getting on there. It can be a really good way to get people checking out your music that may not have checked it out otherwise. This next tip on getting your music in front of more people might sound a little bit dated, but I'm actually serious when I say email people. You'd be surprised how many independent playlisters there are for platforms like Spotify especially, but also Apple Music and YouTube. Get on Google if you're making metalcore or deathcore, whatever genre you're making, look up metalcore Spotify playlists, and you will find people online who curate music for their own independent playlists on Spotify or whichever platform. And no, they're nowhere as big of an audience as the editorial playlists that I was referencing earlier, but even if it's 500 or 1,000 followers on their playlist, that's more people listening to your music, and every stream counts, every sale counts, every listener counts. So over the years, I've cultivated a little list of various bloggers and playlisters and reviewers, and anytime I drop new music, I just put together an email and I send out an email and I say,
hey, check out my new music, man.
Hey y'all, I'm editing this video right now and I actually just realized I kind of forgot to mention something along with this point. Please be very wary and very cautious of any people that are reaching out to you directly through social media to try and offer you playlisting or any type of similar services. When you first make your new social media profiles and start posting things with hashtags, you're almost certainly going to start receiving some messages and some comments from some kind of spammy looking pages saying, hey, hit us up if you want some playlisting, hit us up if you want more followers on Instagram. Now, these kind of services are not services. These are 99 times out of 100 going to be people that are trying to charge you money, saying they're going to help you get more followers, and in the end, you're going to see zero return on investment from it. So I thought this may be worthy of mentioning along the lines of reaching out to people, whether it be through social media or email. Again, do that as much as possible. It's free to send an email. However, please be very cautious about people that are reaching out to you. They do not have your best interests in mind. There's even a couple of websites that allow you to submit your music all in one place to multiple playlisters. So I'll put links in the description to a couple of good playlisting websites. And these can be a good way to kind of introduce yourself to reaching out to people for playlisting if you haven't reached out to anyone for that before. This next point kind of ties into my last point, but my third point is more specifically to hone in on build anticipation for your release. Obviously, if you're an existing project, this is a little bit self-explanatory. Post about it on your social media, like I was just saying, get people to pre-save it, post a 20-second clip or something like that of the best part of the song, the same way action movies always show like the highest action shots in the preview, but they only show 2 seconds of it, things like that. You know, do whatever you can to build anticipation with your existing listeners.
But
many of you watching may be starting a brand new project. You may be getting ready to drop the very first release for your project. And you're thinking,
hey, interiors, I've never released anything before. I don't have any existing listeners. What the heck do you expect me to do?
Well, I'll tell you. First of all, don't snap at me like that. Jeez. But I'll tell you, because really, even if you're a brand new artist with 0 followers, 0 listeners existing except for maybe a few close friends who are starting to support you, there are still things you can do to build anticipation. Social media is going to be your best friend. So make an Instagram account for your project, post on there with relevant hashtags. For myself, I have a guitar-heavy, gent, proggy metalcore type project. It's instrumental, so I use a lot of hashtags like 7-string, 8-string, prog, gent, guitar, music, hashtag guitarists of Instagram. Literally, these are the hashtags I use. Go to my Instagram and look. Jeez, this thing just don't want to stay in focus, bro. I guess this would be a good time to plug my song Focus from my new album Conduit Vista.
Check it out at the link at the top of the screen.
This might go without saying, make sure your Instagram account is set to public. If it's not, no one will see your posts and the hashtags when they're looking. Another great way to build somewhat of an audience and some anticipation through social media is through Facebook groups. Depending on what genre of music you're playing, for myself, in the kind of online gent community, back in my formative years, I was able to connect with a lot of people and get a lot of people kind of interested in the music that I was making through the gent group on Facebook, which I'm still a member of to this day. If you're in there, you've probably been in a comment section with me before, so I look forward to talking to you again soon. But seriously, Facebook groups can be a great place to share your content. If you have a guitar-heavy project like mine, take a 30-second clip of you playing whatever you think is the coolest riff from your new song and post it in there and say, hey, I tried to hold that burp in, but I couldn't do it. And say, hey, here's a clip from a new song I'm working on. This is the name of my new project. Check it out. Go follow me on Instagram. And then on Instagram, say, hey, go check out my Facebook page. And you can kind of cross-pollinate your fan base that way once you start getting listeners on each individual platform. Now, this is the kind of thing that is not going to bring you any kind of overnight following. If you expect to make 2 or 3 Instagram posts and get 100 followers, go do something else. I'm serious. This is the kind of thing that takes consistent daily effort, consistent creativity, changing up what you're posting, thinking outside the box, posting videos, posting images, posting memes, posting teaser content, posting whatever you can, but mixing it up, being consistent, being smart about when you're posting it. Posting something at 3 a.m. when no one's awake and they're not going to see it is not necessarily the best idea. However, posting something at 10 or 11 a.m. on a Saturday morning when people are, for the most part, off work and using their devices to look at social media, you're going to get way more reactions. Be smart about when you're posting, be smart about what you're posting, be smart about the hashtags that you're using. There are even websites that you can easily find through Google that will tell you what the top 25 most relevant hashtags are for any one term. So you could say, I'm making death metal. I can Google top death metal hashtags and you'll find a site that tells you if you're posting something on Instagram about death metal, use these hashtags. So these are all things that you can do when you're starting from absolute square one to still build some anticipation and ultimately start building a consistent, growable audience for your music, even as a brand new artist. But again, you have to be consistent with it. You can't get discouraged if you don't get the audience you're looking for as fast as you're hoping to get it. Be consistent, stick with it, and over time you'll see yourself start to build momentum. You'll see your project start to snowball, and you'll get in this groove where you're just used to sticking with all that on a daily, regular, consistent basis. All right, and my fourth and final point today is going to be invest in good quality artwork and branding for your project and your releases. Have you ever seen an album cover and you could kind of just immediately tell that it wasn't made by a professional graphic designer? Now, I'm not here to knock anyone by any means, but again, if your goal is to view your band or project like a business and earn as large of a following as possible for your music, that's right, I said earn, you won't be doing yourself any favors by slapping something less than great on your album cover. Now, if you have design shops and you can make your own graphics,
rock out, bro.
be DIY, save money wherever you can. If not, Find and hire a graphic designer whose work you like and who you think can bring your music to life visually in the best way possible. Think about how many times you checked out an album just because the artwork was cool and it piqued your interest when you saw it. Having outstanding artwork can sometimes be the icebreaker that turns a potential listener into a fan. I actually had someone overseas order a copy of my new album a couple months ago simply because they liked the cover artwork, and they told me this. Now, he ended up liking the album once he heard it too, but it was really honestly kind of an eye-opener for me and really just further stressed the importance of why I invest in good quality branding for my releases. But come on, bro, stay in focus. And again, it was crazy to see that someone ordered a copy of Conduit Vista just because they thought the artwork was amazing, which I agree, the artwork is amazing. Big shout out to Barnaby over at Crossfade Productions, insanely talented and very professional. I'll have a link to his page down in the description. I highly recommend. Alright, so these have been my top 4 tips / best practices for dropping new music as an artist. If you were hoping to take something away from this video, I hope you did. I hope maybe you learned something, or maybe there was something that you found interesting. If so, let me know. If you disagree with me, if you think I'm an idiot, please let me know. I would love to hear your thoughts either way, on either side of that spectrum. Drop a comment and we can have a discussion about it. Please follow me on Instagram. I post on there way more regularly than I do here on YouTube. And like I was saying in my last video that I just uploaded, go follow me on Twitch. I recently started streaming on there, and I've been having a ton of fun doing some streams while I'm recording new music, and it gives you a chance to kind of see me work on my stuff in real time and help me decide what I want to do in my tracks. Thank you for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you have a great day.